Hi, Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. I have a card featuring the Every Chapter Cling Set. It's kind of fun. It's got lots of layers and some extra embellishments. I'll show you how to put it together. What you're going to need is some black cardstock, and that's going to be your base at 5.5 and 4 1/4. Some vellum, that is the layering vellum on page 33 of the catalog. You're going to need your Stamparatus with some Memento black ink, and you can see you just need one plate, and some watercolor pencils for our coloring. So let's go ahead and get started with the coloring. I'm using the watercolor pencils. They're featured in the annual catalog. There's 2 sets, and I have both, so there probably will be a mix. I'm starting out with Bermuda Bay for the top teacup, and I'm going to be using 2 shades of red. I'm using a regular, the Cherry Cobbler, and the Real Red, because I'm going to do some shading. I'm using Pacific Point for that book, and then I'm going to repeat some colors. But I'm also using Gorgeous Grape. And for the leaves, there's some little flower details, leaf details. I'm using Granny Apple Green, and then I'm going to be using, I believe, Coastal Cabana. So I'm going to just put those aside, and I'll go through the colors. But just to begin with, just go ahead and color your images using the pencils. our next step, we're going to be using Tombow Glue, Tombow Multipurpose Liquid Glue, for adding our gilded leafing as accents for our picture. Now, Tombow Glue dries, and when it dries with a nice sticky surface, which is perfect for adhering gilded leafing. And I'm going to show you that technique. What I would recommend using a new bottle of Tombow Glue, because with a new bottle you can really control how the glue is going to flow from your bottle. So here's my new bottle of Tombow Glue. I'm just kind of testing it there on my hand. I'm going to move in a little bit, and all I'm going to do is just before I add the glue, I'm going to use my embossing buddy, and I'm going to prepare my surface with my embossing buddy, because I just want to make sure that when it comes time to adding the gilded flake leafing, that it just sticks to where I have the glue, the adhesive. So I'm kind of using like a scribble effect up and down the ends of the books for my image. What I want to create here is kind of like that really pretty gold binding that old books have, and that's the effect I'm going for. And it's a lot easier to use the Tombow Glue than to try to do that. I mean, you can just draw it on there and you'll see how pretty it's going to come out. Okay, so that we're going to let that dry. We're going to go on to our next step. For our next step, now that the glue has dried, or Tombow Glue has dried, and I'm kind of testing it there with my finger, what we're going to do is I have a tin where I keep my gold flakes. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of slip my my cardstock in there and sprinkle it with some gold flakes right on the areas that I have put the Tombow Glue, and I can just go ahead and rub that with my finger. You can see how sticky those are. A good tip is to use the embossing buddy on your fingertips so you don't get all the glue stuck on your nails and your fingers. I'm then going to use a brush, and this is a Tim Holtz brush. I just kind of like it because it has some really stiff bristles, and it really kind of helps to get the kind of move the gold leafing around. Then I'm just going to kind of take it out of there, and look how pretty that came out. But we're not done yet, because what we're going to do is we're going to grab that stiff brush again after I get rid of some of the gold leafing. Okay, you can kind of see there's still pieces and parts there. I'm going to grab that stiff brush, and I'm just going to kind of rub it over, so I'm burnishing the gold leafing. I'm also using my finger to burnish, and you can kind of see the detail that that has. Isn't that pretty? It has a nice pretty gold edging on the pages of your book. I'm then going to go ahead and fussy cut this image, because we're going to put it up on a piece of the vellum cardstock on our card. So this is it's just very easy to go ahead and fussy cut. Now we're ready to go on to the next step of assembling our card, but first I want to add a special embellishment to our eyeglasses that are sitting on top of our stack of books. I'm taking a bottle of the fine tip glue, which is in the annual catalog, and I'm just moving in here so you can see that I'm using the fine tip glue. Can give the same effect as you've heard crystal effects, because when it dries, it will dry clear and hard. So by adding the glue to our eyeglasses, I'm creating the effect of having eyeglass lenses. So it's just kind of a nice little extra bonus to our image. And I'm using my X-Acto to kind of pop any bubbles that may form. But you do have to be kind of careful and slow when you're adding it so that you don't have a lot of bubbles. But it's a really nice effect. And you just let that dry for a couple of hours, and you'll have the look of an eyeglass lens. The next effect I'm using is I'm taking a alcohol marker. It's a gray, and I'm back shadowing all my letters from my stamp just to give them a little bit more depth and to make them pop. You can use any kind of light gray. This particular pen is an Azure pen. It is number Cool Gray number 2, and it's available on Amazon. But as you can see, it just kind of gives your lettering just an extra pop there. So a little bit more dimension to your image. Isn't that pretty? So that's another tip for putting together our every chapter. Okay, now we're going to work on the vellum. I'm taking a piece of vellum, 5 1/4 by 4. I have used a corner punch because I want to kind of round it out. I love this pattern. It's basically just lettering. But I really think it goes well with the kind of the book theme of this stamp set. And I'm going to use that Tombow technique. I'm just taking my Tombow, and I'm just gonna create, and I'm trying to get I have to get my new bottle. There we go. I'm just going to create some swirls. I'm just swirling it down, kind of like in a zigzaggy swirl fashion. You can see it there. It's already starting to dry all the way around my vellum, and this is going to dry. And once again, we're going to add some of the gilded leafing. Okay, once our glue is dry, we're going to grab your tin again, because we're using the gilded leafing, and it's always best to use a tin or some kind of container that you can contain those flakes, because those flakes, as you can see, they will fly all over the place. So I'm just setting my my piece of vellum inside my tin, and in this case I'm just grabbing some pieces, and I'm kind of placing them where I want the gold foiling to the gilded leafing, and just kind of rubbing it around the edge, placing it, and it just, you can see how easily the it adheres to that Tombow glue. I'm just taking some off my finger, just trying to push it around. You get tons of gilded leafing when you're in this container, and this is also in the annual catalog, and it's just a really nice effect. Much different. It's a little bit shinier and brighter than doing any kind of embossing, and that's why I kind of like to use it, because it kind of gives you a different effect. Okay, once again, I'm using that stiff brush to kind of rub off the excess, because I want to keep that excess inside my container, and then I can kind of brush off. There you go. It's a little tricky trying to get all the little gold leafing out of the brush, though, but if you're diligent, you can get it out. Okay, put my tin aside. And again, I'm going to, I'm pulling it in. I'm just going to use my finger to kind of burnish, and my brush to make sure I get any loose pieces. And look how pretty that really just brushing off my surface. Look how pretty that came out. I mean, it looks just like zigzag. I mean, it was just really a nice effect. So consider that as another way to use your gilded leafing. And now we're just going to go ahead and put it on our base card, and with our image. And I like to just, the Tombow will dry clear, so I just go ahead and I put it kind of in the middle of that vellum because I don't really want it to show anywhere else. And then I'm going to rub it very carefully, or rather, I'm going to rub it to make sure it kind of spreads out and it doesn't lump. And then we're just going to go ahead and pull in some dimensionals to kind of pop up our image. So now we're going to just pull in some dimensionals so we can pop up our image. And I'm using the regular dimensionals, and I just want to make sure I put plenty there since I'm using vellum. I want to make sure that my image is on there very well. And I'm rather generous with my dimensionals, especially when I have a rather large piece. But there you go. That's still drying, and I want to just make sure that glue kind of hides behind the image. And there you go. I hope you really like this this card. It's really not that hard to put together. I think it really I love all the different types of embellishments we were able to do to kind of make it pop. Please like and share, and leave a comment. And all my product information is on my blog.